Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Diego and DeVore show, and they pulled somebody up from the grave, Derek Flair, and here I am to tell you that you're in the right place. Whenever you see the Diego and DeVore show on your screen, you are in the right place, and it's going to be big woo tonight.
Hi, wrestling fans. This is Gary Whitehurst, former ring announcer with NACW and other indie organizations in the Carolinas for many years. When it comes to all things wrestling, you're in the right place with the Diego and DeVore Wrestling Podcast. When it comes to travel and vacations, you come to me. Once we get through this pandemic, I can make your vacation dreams come true, whether it be an exciting cruise, an all-inclusive resort, international land vacation, and so much more. I'll take care of you. Why me? Well, I will be your one contact person. No long hold times with Booking Direct or big online agencies. And my rate will never be higher than Booking Direct, and I do not charge a booking agency planning fee. How do you reach me? Well, I'm so glad you asked. I'm based in Tampa, Florida, and I can be reached at area code 561-424-6003. That's 561-424-6003. My email is gwhitehurst@cruiseandtravelexperts.com. That's GWHITEHURST at CRUISEANDTRAVELEXPERTS.com. My website is gtravel.cruiseandtravelexperts.com. Hey, I got something great for you now. If you make a reservation with me and mention the Diego and DeVore Wrestling Podcast, I'll give you a cruise onboard credit or amenity. You can't beat that. And now, let's get back to the Diego and DeVore Podcast.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Diego and DeVore show. Unfortunately, Mega he's still on vacation, and you know it's hard to really pin that guy down. So looking forward to having him back on later in the month. We were almost out of the month, so maybe next month he'll come back and grace us with his presence. But until then, you know, I'd like to talk about something that I think at one point it was a dying art in professional wrestling, which is tag team wrestling. It usually always seemed that it got ignored a lot. You had a lot of guys that just slap together and say, hey, go out there and be a tag team. But I think something like that is already a thing of the past because there seems to be a revival of sorts, a rebirth of concept tag team wrestling, which I'm a very big fan of. I grew up in the time where you had tag teams like Midnight Express. You know, I felt they were better with Stan Lane, but that's a very unpopular opinion, it seems. We had the Hart Foundation, my number one ever favorite tag team of the world. You had the Rockers, and you had Rock and Roll Express. And at that time, we can go on, but it seems like there was a time where things slowed up. But I think right now, we're looking at something very beautiful. I'll bring you to right now is a couple of guys out there doing it what I think is the right way. They got the look, they got the talent, they got the team cohesion. And I'll just quit talking. Let's bring them in. Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd, they are the future of tag team wrestling. They are the Outrunners. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the Diego and DeVore show.
Hell yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, man, you know, the pleasure's all on this side of the table because I tell you, out of the things that I've seen, man, is I like to use the word DeLorean. When I'm talking about DeLorean, I'm talking about a time machine going back. And I'm watching two guys that have a cohesion of sorts because it's not something you see around very much anymore. And I know that when I mentioned, and I saw one of you guys react to where you go to a show and then it's just, hey, you're a tag team tonight, go out there and do your thing. It's just, there's no magic in that. There's no art. So now we have the Outrunners. So tell me how in today's time you can have two very talented individuals come together and decide to say, hey, you know what? we're a thing. Let's go do it?
It was kind of a luck of the draw between the two of us. Shiloh or Truth Magnum being from the Seattle area and me being from the Chicago area, kind of not a good chance that we were ever going to meet. And then, colliding together here in Louisville, Kentucky. He moved in from there. I moved in out from the San Diego area. So kind of a big chance that we were ever going to meet, but it happened, and now here we are. Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd, the Outrunners, making it happen here in the Midwest.
We trained together under the world-class trainer Rip Rogers and learned kind of the entertainment aspect, the TV aspect from Al Snow. We wrestled one-on-one against each other for about a year. And then at one point we were like, you know what, we could be a sum greater than our parts. And here we are today.
Yeah. So, and how long ago was that? Because it seems that you guys been tagging together for at least 15 years by the way you got, by the guys you guys perform out there.
Oh, thank you. It's been about a year and a half, but a big chunk of that year was we were down for the count with COVID related, not working because of COVID. So, but we've been doing everything we can outside of having matches during COVID time, like producing content, getting our gear straight, working on every other aspect of the team that we possibly could, studying, training, all times getting ready for coming out of COVID. And we've had some good success since then.
Yeah, because I'm looking, I know you guys talk about the training, but you guys seem to be doing it the right way, because not only are wrestlers athletes and performers, but they're also businessmen. Mm-hmm. And from what I've seen, you guys had the great promo shoots. You guys got the highlight reels. I mean, you're all up and down with the social media. So, it's A to Z business.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you can't wrestle, you have to do every other aspect of getting yourself out there, getting yourself in front of people, promoting yourself. That's also just a fun part of it, especially working with Turbo, in that we can come up with an idea, shoot it, get it edited all ourselves, and just that whole creative process is a fun time.
It ended up working out, kind of having that 8 to 9 months of downtime. We really taught ourselves how to do all that. It was kind of all by scratch. I mean, we were talking just the other day. We kind of go back and look at our first videos and kind of not necessarily cringe, but it's like, man, our stuff's so much better now. We've come so far as being able to produce our own content and put that stuff together. And yeah, we've been very fortunate enough to we live remotely close to each other, so we can do a ton of film study, which we did. We're fortunate enough to have the arena in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Thanks to a good friend of ours, Too Tough Tony, who was able to give us access to that facility where we were able to go train and work with each other. And, we've been able to piece this whole thing together in the time that we had off due to, COVID. And now when things are picking back up, it seems that we've hit the ground running. We feel together we've really caught our stride.
That's interesting, because when the COVID had first hit on our side here, it was a total shutdown A to Z. There's just no life in wrestling. And you might see one or two promotions run stuff out there, and in YouTube land, you don't even know where they ran, but you just kind of see them doing their thing, because it's kind of how our show started, Diego and DeVore show, because we had all the contracts for the shows ready to go, and we were just hitting our stride, and then boom, nothing. So it's like, what are we going to do? Do nothing, sit in our hands, or do something creative? Henceforth, the podcast. Let's forget about that, because we're talking about the Outrunners tonight.
Well, it's funny you say that. When I talked to Turbo, when I first talked to him, I said, hey man, what if we formed a tag team? And he was all for it. 3 days later, the shutdown occurred, and but it gave us a lot of time to get better.
Yeah. In a way that it's going to sound real shitty, and I'm trying not to, but in a way, COVID was kind of a blessing for certain aspects of the business, because it had to reinvent itself. And so with that, because I know you sat down, you're talking about learning new skills, with the social media and doing things, but you were also studying the tapes. So, and I can only guess, but I'll have you tell us, because I don't want to assume your favorite era of tag team wrestling. So when you study the tapes, where do you go? Because it's very thin in today's time. So you have to go at least 15, 20 years.
My personal favorite is the late 80s.
Mm-hmm. You already touched on quite a few of the tag teams we have been watching. So Yeah, guys like Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express and the Rockers.
Right.
We're all guys. Yeah, we've been studying. We're constantly sending each other video and clips of things that, hey, how can we tweak this little thing and make it the Outrunners. So yeah, you kind of touch on all that. But yeah, the late '80s, mid to late '80s is kind of what we've based all of our inspiration, I suppose, off of. And you can see that in us, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I also want to mention I'm also a Stan Lane Midnight Express fan as well.
Okay, so
Yes.
we're just two that I know. So that's pretty cool though, because judging by the look, I would have said straight up 80s, which is cool because 80s is the best decade of wrestling, and then of course part of the Attitude Era. Onward, I can't really say much about. I kind of feel that I didn't leave wrestling; the wrestling left me, but that's a whole different show. So let's say, so you guys said, well, let's just form a tag team, but there had to be something in there to where it's just like when you do a show, you do a series of show with one person, there's magic. You guys have a lot of good chemistry together when you're wrestling somebody else. But when two individuals just get together and say, hey, let's just form a tag team, it's just, couldn't work, could not work. But you guys knew from the start this is going to be a thing.
Yeah, I think so because we come from the same trainers. We have the same work ethic. We have the same philosophy when it comes to wrestling, the same sense of humor, similar styles. It's just something we knew was going to work, and if we put the effort into the team as much as we have put the effort into just the business and ourselves up to that point, there's no reason why this couldn't work.
Yeah, and it all spawned from about like 2 or so years before the tag teaming was even a thought. Truth Magnum and I were kind of pinned together as far as competing against each other for almost a year. We were kind of traveling around Kentucky, Tennessee, and in the Indiana area, kind of together and pretty much wrestling each other every weekend. So we really got a good feel for each other, and we gelled really well. And then it was around the time I left OVW. And was looking to kind of reinvent myself for a little bit, a few months, and the kind of look and style that we were kind of, adjusting ourselves to was pretty similar. And that was when Truth Magnum gave me the text and said, "Hey, man, I think this is something that could really work if we were to team up and make this thing happen." And hell yeah, I'm on board. Let's do it. What do we need to do? I think, and yeah, maybe the next day we were kind of going over. We met at Truth's house and we're going over some film study and some different tag teams that we could think we kind of liked. And he's asking me, what kind of tag teams do you like? All right, well, what do you like? And it ended up being the same exact teams, the teams you mentioned already. So we're like, all right, let's watch them. Heart Foundation, put them on. Let's see what we can pull from them. And yeah, again, the COVID stuff happened, and we were able to have 9 to 10 months of study and learning how to do everything, basically. Us both being pretty much single guys up until, well, I can't speak for Truth on that, but me, this is my first tag team I've ever really been in. So it's kind of, it's more or less the same, but you're really starting from scratch because now you got a whole nother factor. There's 3 other guys in the ring that you need to work with. So, but I mean, I feel, again, it's something we've gelled really well with. We kind of read each other's minds at this point. So it's all been working out really well.
And reading minds, you kind of read my mind because I was starting to think to where, have you gotten to a point now to where the communication is all a matter of just giving the look, or where you're going, where he's going, where you guys, the communication, you don't even have to talk about it, you just do it?
Oh, exactly. Something I feel like as soon as the ref gets pulled in some situation, I know, well, I'm coming in, or vice versa, or the other team pulling the ref or whatever it might be. As soon as it happens, I'm beginning my roll out of the ring, and he's already in behind me. So we're kind of on the same page as far as all that stuff goes, or when tags are getting made, or it's kind of known out there, but it's not. We're not necessarily calling spots beforehand or anything like that. It's kind of, this is what we do. We get it. We understand it. It's super simple stuff, but it's stuff that works. And we can really make happen. And we're always on the same page. I know exactly when he's going to be doing whatever it might be. Hitting a knee, missing a knee, sunset flip, whatever it is, I know it's coming. So I'm just sitting there waiting, being turbo.
Beautiful. So what do you let's start with this, because I don't really talk about the roots or where each of you came from with the training. I know Rip was a very big deal with you guys. So let's talk about that. So I'll start with Truth Magnum. So how did you get involved with wrestling? What is it that what gave you the bug?
Shoot, I remember watching WrestleMania 4, I think it was, back in the day, and ever since I was little, that's what I wanted to do. In fact, I remember in first grade, we were supposed to draw a picture of what you wanted to be when you grew up, and I drew myself as the third bushwhacker. So, so it's what I've always wanted to do. I started actually training when I was 14 in Seattle with at the Buddy Wayne School, which has produced people like Darby Allin since I've left, and Buddy's son Nick Wayne. I started there, and Buddy Wayne himself was a protege of Rip Rogers. And my whole first year and a half of training, he didn't explain psychology to me at all. It was all by feel. It was all by just working. Never did he like stop and explain, this is why you do this. It was all by feel. And then when I got here to Louisville and trained with Rip for quite some time, it's just whole nother level. It's like going from middle school to high school, and then college. And from there, I trained with Nick Dinsmore, learned quite a bit from Rob Conway, then eventually Al Snow, and even spent some time under Jim Cornette, which was awesome as, a fan of all those tag teams back in the day. Just to be able to pick his brain on a weekly basis was just tremendous. So I can't even, speaking of great tag teams, I was very much trained by Joey Mercury, who has just one of the greatest genius minds for this business. So as Turbo will tell you his training story, like we have world class, in my opinion, training, and it's been just a great pleasure to combine our forces and show people what we can do.
Question to you, Turbo, with your origins, what gave you that bug, just like your partner?
Well, I got the bug pretty early. I was probably 5 or 6 years old watching the Attitude Era wrestling. And so in my hometown, I begged my parents to sign me up for the wrestling club that they had in the summers. So I showed up to an amateur wrestling club expecting to hit kids with chairs, and ended up getting into the amateur world, which I fell in love with. It took me a couple years to kind of make the adjustment that, hey, I'm not being Hulk Hogan right now or Randy Savage or whatever it is, but I'm getting an opportunity to work with something else that I really enjoy. So I wrestled amateur up until I was 23, 24 throughout college. And then right after that, I ended up moving out to San Diego, California to train with SoCal Pro. So I trained under guys like Anthony Idol and Jeff Dino before I moved to the Louisville area around 2017 or 18, I believe, where I started I began training there with Matt Capitelli and Rip Rogers, and just from having kind of getting a bit of a head start out there to moving to the Louisville area to train with Rip Rogers. It was a really intense process, but it's something that helped me scoot right along as far as learning, as Truth mentioned, psychology and ring awareness and footwork. And I mean, if you've ever met Rip Rogers or heard him talk or listened to him, you're going to learn pretty quick, or he's going to let you have it. So it was kind of a sink or swim situation with him, especially how quickly he pulled me in and took me under his wing. I guess as far as Rip Rogers goes, he kind of every few years he's got his one guy, and I happen to be the last Rip guy, I guess, before he retired from training. I mean, he still does seminars and all that, but I mean, he's like True said, we got world-class training ability, and we got the world-class training from a guy like Rip Rogers, who trained, John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, Edge to some degree, Big Show had hands on. So, and he was a guy that was around all of our favorite wrestlers. And he tells me stories of how he was roommates with Randy Savage for like 3 or 4 years, and that's who taught him how to wrestle. So, in my opinion, the greatest wrestler of all time trained my trainer, who is, in my opinion, the second greatest wrestler of all time. So it's kind of crazy how we're able to fall into that, but you kind of feel things kind of hit when they're supposed to. So here we are today, the Outrunners, Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd.
I mean, yeah, because you mentioned some key figures in wrestling, talk about Rip Rogers and Jim Cornette. So let's talk about what's the feedback been, and I'm not talking about just the fans, but as far as people of their caliber, because you received either some advice or training. I'm gonna call it like the PhD level of training. So what's been the feedback from folks like that? Because I can see but nothing but positive feedback. And of course there'll be times where they say, hey man, you screwed that up, you did that. But what's the feedback been, especially now with the Outrunners the way they are now?
Typically with older guys, just not too long ago, Truth and I wrestled Ricky Morton and his son. And guys like Rip Rogers kind of train you for guys like that. We wrestle that same style. It's, hey, we're going to call this whole thing in the ring. And for Truth and I, that's a super easy task because training with Rip Rogers, it was, all right, we're going to get in, 10 matches this weekend with training. All of them are going to be called in the ring. I'll give you your times. And Rip always brags about Mike Mondo has the record for 60-minute matches called in the ring with I think he said 13 or 14, and I've got 9. So I think I'm second on that list as far as his classes go. So yeah, we wrestling guys like Ricky Morton and getting him from Rip, they say he says if they don't say anything back to you, that means it was pretty good. And so we wrestled Ricky Morton, and he didn't really have much feedback for us. So we're right on, rock solid. So we kind of were able to go home with our heads held high that night. So that's the only experience I guess I have from that. But as far as older guys giving us feedback or lack thereof, but it's a pretty good feeling, I guess.
I've had some good feedback from guys that were kind of veterans when I started that I kind of looked up to when I started. And the general consensus, or what I hear back from most, is I think you guys really have something. And I was just talking to one of them yesterday at the show we wrestled at in Indiana, and he was like, you guys just need a break. That's all you need. So I think it's coming soon for sure.
Mm-hmm. I can't say that. Why wouldn't anybody give you a break now? Because there's so many companies out there seeing the light of day because thanks to places like YouTube or any other social media group, to where I don't think a major company can bury these places anymore because you can't hide talent anymore.
Yeah, you have a great point there. Absolutely.
And so we're looking, because we talked about earlier, because I asked you what your home promotion or where you come from, and you say you're as independent as it gets, free agent as it gets. So before we get into that, let me take a moment to mention to the fans to visit the DiegoandDeVoreShow.com website. While you're on that website, because we're talking about tag team wrestling takes a lot of energy. So I invite you to scroll down the page and hit the Rogue Energy banner. Get in there and get you some fabulous energy powder. So it's not like just any regular energy where it comes from a can and you can't even don't even know what periodic table these ingredients come from. So click on that rogueenergy.com banner and I can tell you how to save some money. Use the Diego and DeVore Show savings code. Saves you 10% of your complete order. Diego and DeVore Show. That's Diego Shift 7 DeVore Show. Get 10% of your total order today. Lord DeVore, he has the energy to not only buy all his race cars but drive them as well. He drives them about as fast as he drinks them. But it's a beautiful thing because it doesn't taste like the regular energy from a can. Click that banner at rogueenergy.com. That's rogueenergy.com. Save 10%. Use the Diego and DeVore Show discount code. Back with the Outrunners, Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd. One of my favorite up-and-coming future tag team legends, I'd say. So we talked about all these companies that are seeing the light of day now and talent can't be ignored. Where have you guys been doing a lot of your work lately? Because I've seen you everywhere, which is a good thing because you don't want to get stale in one place and then not experience, I will say, other territories, because you're never going to get any better unless you go out into places where you haven't been seen yet.
So we briefly in OVW at the beginning of the year when things started opening up, we had a good 2-month run, I think, in IWA Mid-South. We've done quite a bit in Tennessee, Indiana, and where else?
West Virginia. So kind of the Midwest area. We've been running up and down as far as hitting the independent scene. We're really in the Midwest. We've been out west a little bit. Sioux Falls is the furthest we've gone out. That was quite a haul. But yeah, we're just kind of on the independent scene, making it happen. Any and all takers, whoever wants to book the Outrunners, we are here for your tag team pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, there should be no reason why eyes shouldn't be on your tag team. So with the world being as it is now, with, like I said, all these companies, they've been around and now have a good shine on them. And I know everybody says they want to go to WWE or whatever, but I think now that there's more options out there, I think more healthier options really. What promotions out there are really catching your eye to where I want to work those guys, or I want to wrestle these guys?
Just aesthetically, we would fit in NWA very well. That's just a natural fit there. But the teams I think we want to wrestle are in AEW largely. Like it'd be incredible to wrestle like FTR the way they do their matches. They'd be awesome.
Be a really good fit for us. A big Varsity Blondes fan. That would be another good fit for us. And yeah, both AEW guys. As far as larger promotions go, sure, we'd love to wrestle for AEW or WWE or Impact or NWA, Ring of Honor. I'm a big fan of Ring of Honor. I watch all their clips. But as far as like local promotions, we're trying to get up into Chicago. Warrior Wrestling's become a kind of a big promotion around here. They seem to bring in a lot of guys. We're kind of hoping to get in contact with them a little bit further, looking to, head down south, Tennessee. That's where like Impact and all those guys are. So really, again, any and all takers. The Outrunners are here we're here for a good time. We're here for some good tag team wrestling, and we're wanting to take on, I mean, you can't get any iron sharpens iron, so we're looking for teams that are better than us to wrestle. So we're constantly scouting for teams and looking for people like, hey, these guys look pretty good. Let's try and find a way to get out to them. And I think we're going to catch a pretty good deal of it here upcoming in the next couple of weeks. September 10th, we're going to be in West Virginia at Pro Wrestling Conquest. It's an all-tag team show, and there's giant tag teams on there. Formerly known as the Ascension are on there. The main event, Lenny and Lodi, WCW's Lenny and Lodi are going to be on the team. We're actually going to be going up against Lenny and Lodi, so I'm really looking forward to that and learning a lot from them. So Pro Wrestling Conquest here, September 10th is going to be a huge show for not only the Outrunners, but as much as it is going to be for tag team wrestling.
So you're saying it's an all tag team wrestling card?
Yes. The show name is actually called Book More Tag Team Matches, cowards.
So in what town in West Virginia is this? Because that's where I'm from, so I want to know, hey, look, if it's close enough for me, I mean, I'll make the drive.
So it's going to be in Charleston, West Virginia on September 10th. It's a Friday.
That's quite a haul for you guys.
It's gonna about 4.5, 5 hours, something like that.
Oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. Wrestling drive, that's nothing.
That's not too bad.
No, the wrestling, that's nothing.
So we talked about, because I know we talked about, I'm going to go back a little bit because I got not too much ahead of myself with your look and the concept of your tag team. So the gear itself, because I think it works. So who came up with the concept of the gear, and who did you have it made?
So I left OVW in a few months before Turbo, and was trying to think of ways to reinvent myself completely. I wrestled formerly under the name of Shiloh Jones. I was doing this kind of whack rapper gimmick for quite some time, and I just wanted to completely start from scratch, do whatever I thought was cool. And I came up with this look for the attire that it just kind of spoke to me. I wanted something that was 80s inspired, but not like I'm wearing like I don't know, Flashdance outfit or anything, but 80s inspired, but still new, still fresh. And once Randy agreed, we got another set made to match his, and then similar styles, different colors going from there. It's very specific aesthetic that we were trying to go for that, like I said, isn't totally outdated. It's not an outdated, it's old, but it's new. Kind of like the Outrunners and our style.
And I talked earlier about the reactions, let's say from your trainers or from people who've been in the business for a long time, who have the knowledge to give the advice. So let's go from that to the fans. So being that the fans unfortunately haven't had the greatest experience with tag team wrestling, how has the fan reaction been to you guys?
Well, we've typically been working as heels, exclusively as heels. So we're pretty well hated by fans during the shows. After the shows, they're wanting to high five us and tell us how cool we look and how fun our whole thing is. But during the shows, we're very well hated.
That means you did your job right.
Exactly. Right. Get that heat. That's what it's all about.
Now with that, I'm a big fan of the ghost tag. I mean, you guys got a lot of that going on too.
Oh yeah, any chance we can get, if if that ref turns his back at all, he or she, it's happening. Ghost Tag. It's we'll get the crowd fired up on that one.
That's one of my favorite things, man. I swear.
Absolutely.
Well, that was kind of we've touched on OVW a little bit, but Al Snow took over a few years ago, and that was one of his big things. Like, why did that tag team just tag behind the ref's back? Why wouldn't they just get out? So, like, anytime, that's kind of ingrained in my brain. Like, yeah, that makes total sense. Why would they ever tag behind the ref's back? If the ref's not looking, get the hell out of the ring and switch. It's that simple. So it's kind of ingrained in my brain because of that. I can hear him say it every time the ref turns his back.
Yeah, because a good heel would take advantage of that anytime.
Exactly.
So with that, because we talked about social media earlier, and I know I usually save this towards the end. So with the Outrunners, you guys are doing a great job getting your name out there. So where can the fans find out about the Outrunners? So because I first came across your information on Twitter, I watched the clips and I just followed that rabbit hole and finally got in touch with you guys to come on the show. So where can the fans learn more about the Outrunners?
You can get us on Instagram and Twitter at Truth Magnum and at Turbo Floyd _.
Yes.
So we got Twitter. You say Facebook or anything else like that, or?
Yeah, we're on Facebook too, but it's under our well, at least my old gimmick, because you can't change your name on Facebook. But if you search for Truth Magnum, my profile will pop up.
Excellent.
I do not have a wrestling Facebook, but I've got a YouTube, Turbo Floyd. I've got a Twitch at twitch.tv /Turbo Floyd _. Same as my Instagram and Twitter, Turbo Floyd _ for both of those. Give us a follow. We'll like it. We're hoping to entertain you, so I think you guys will enjoy it.
Very entertaining indeed. So let's talk about the business aspect of what you guys are doing, because I know I talked earlier that, I know pro wrestlers, we're athletes, we're entertainers, but we're also businessmen. And I see that you guys are handling this like an actual business. It's not just, a hobby here and there. So what is it that a lot of these guys aren't getting to where, they put it social media, but they really don't do anything with it? They put one or two pictures, but you guys are out there putting a lot of time into this.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, it's kind of like the old saying, don't dress for the job you dress for the job. What am I trying to say? Dress for the job you want, not the job you have.
Right.
Yeah, there it is.
So just carrying that through to wrestling, like, we want to look like we're already on national TV, because that's a more sellable product right there. That's the first thing. The other part is all the wrestling part that we're pretty confident we have that down pat. But just being able to market yourself like as much of a finished product as possible to out there on social media is what we're trying to do.
Yeah, and as far as businesses go, I like to put it out there that Truth Magnum and I have kind of, as well as another partner, and Dr. Ted McNaylor, have started our own business. So we've kind of started our own wrestling company that we're pretty excited about. That's going to be here in the Indiana, Louisville area, Kentuckiana as they call it here. In Jeffersonville, Indiana, it's called Dream Pro Wrestling. It's something we're really excited about. It's going to be happening in Jeffersonville, Indiana, September 18th. So coming up in just a few short weeks, we're going to be debuting. It'll be our very first show as business partners, I guess. Again, so I guess as tag team partners, we're technically business partners, but for the second time, business partners for Dream Pro Wrestling. We're very excited about it. Tickets are still on sale. They are flying. So if you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, go to dreampro.ticketspies.com /dream, and you'll be able to purchase your tickets through there. Come see the Outrunners live, as well as a large cast of characters that we've got planned for the show.
Excellent. And I'm glad you guys slipped that in there, just like I slipped the Rogue Energy promo in there for mine.
That's right. I just learned from you. I learned from the best.
Hey, if I could teach anything, that would be great, is self-promotion. So
That's right.
With that, because I know I'm glad we talked about this. So, and I know, of course, you guys will be on there, and it's very exciting to start another promotion. What talent is catching your eye? Because I'm sure you also have partners with you as well. Who are you looking to bring in for the shows? I know you said other cast of characters, but who are you looking to bring in?
It's going to be a great mix of some of the guys here locally that we also feel are deserving of a larger platform to show their skills, along with a lot of the bigger indie talent. So we have people like Billy Starks, JJ Garrett, Gnarls Garvin, Erica Lee, Jay Lee.
Lee, Logan James, Tyler Matrix are kind of the big local people that we feel deserve a bigger opportunity and a bigger chance, and people that we trust to help this promotion kick off right. And then we're bringing in some, like Truth said, some outside rising and white hot independent talent. So
Nick Wayne's another one. Just should be a great show.
ROH's Eli Isom is going to be on the show. He's shooting through the Ring of Honor ranks like a rocket. So we're really excited to get a hold of him right before he's probably going to be unavailable for a long time, because he's flying through. So I'm really excited to see him actually wrestle in person. It's going to be a really fun show.
No, and that's the thing about indies, and I know that sometimes people say indies like it's kind of like it's a passing word or something, but I think the indies are probably is the backbone of professional wrestling. It's one of the most important things out there right now, because
and it's
not only say that again, sorry.
Never been hotter than it is right now.
And that's what I'm getting at, because when I was around, through the 90s and early 2000s, it was there, but I don't think it was as strong as it is now. Do you think it's something and I know social media has a lot to do with it, but do you think that there's just so much talent out there that can no longer be ignored?
Yeah, and you touched on it earlier that there's just no hiding talent. There's no hiding good matches, good shows. It's going to be seen. And yeah, it's. I also was active in the late 2000s, and it was a ghost town as far as independent wrestling compared to what it is today. There's nothing stopping somebody that's talented to make a name for themselves right now.
Exactly, and it's all about. Right now, it's all about just putting in the work and making yourself out there, putting yourself out there and making yourself available. And as Truth mentioned earlier, making yourself look professional and TV ready. So like again, with the whole COVID situation, we've kind of taken a step back and really reevaluated ourselves and how can we make ourselves look the best version of ourselves. And I feel we've mentioned it, I think, before in the show here, and Truth and I talk about it all the time. Pretty much after each match we feel that was the best version that we've had of ourselves thus far. So we feel like we're making strides. Even now, we're kind of at the point where we don't necessarily know if we can get any better, but we feel like we're getting better. So that's what we're looking for, hitting that 100% mark, and we're wanting to push through and really skyrocket ourselves through there. And eventually it's going to catch somebody's eye, and we feel it's truly just a matter of time. So we're here just still putting in the work, and it's the same for anybody else in the independent scene. Put yourself out there, put in the work, reach out to these promotions. Again, the whole COVID time, we reached out to probably 500 promotions that are now finally getting back to us because things are opening up again. So like our schedule's getting pretty busy. So the Outrunners, we're looking to tour the U.S. here pretty soon if we're able to. So look out. The United States, because the Outrunners are coming.
Well, look at United States, look out world, because now it's a global thing.
Exactly.
Wrestling's always been a global thing, so it'll be a matter of time before somebody says, "Hey, man, I need the Outrunners in Japan. We want them in Australia. We want them in Canada."
Oh, that would be a dream. A couple weeks in Japan or something. That'd be a dream.
Yeah, you know what? It's not a far-fetched dream, because wrestling right now, and I think. It is, in my opinion, that I think AEW has really caused wrestling to be somewhat rediscovered and exciting again.
Yeah, I agree completely.
So with that, let's before we continue, I'd like to invite yet again the fans of the Diego and DeVore Show to visit the website, the DiegoandDeVoreShow.com, DiegoandDeVoreShow.com, and the holidays, they come in faster and faster. Pretty soon, Christmas will already be here. You'll be watching the movie Elf. You'll be watching A Christmas Story, and you're like, man. You know what? I need to go buy some holiday gifts for my loved ones. What better way than to go to the DiegoandDeVoreShow.com website, scroll down one more time. I'll ask you only one more time tonight, and hit the Amazon banner. When you hit the Amazon banner, there's no special sign-in. You just do your shopping as normal. Every little bit helps the Diego and DeVore Show pay the bills, and it helps Mr. DeVore get that third coat of wax on his new Jaguar. It's the little things that matter. please do your normal shopping there. While you're there also, I lied. I said I'm not gonna mention nothing else, but go ahead and scroll down one more time to the Invicta banner. You know, DeVore and I were very big fans of the Invicta style watches, and I used this name before, but the Invicta watches, that's the DeLorean of timepieces because it stands
Wow.
the test of time. You could be driving a Yugo or you can drive a DeLorean. Make a statement. The watches are very beautiful, and and they're not as expensive as you think they are. You want to win some brownie points for the wife, for the husband, the girlfriend, the boyfriend, grandma, and grandpa. Get them an Invicta watch. It's a watch that makes a statement. Do yourself a favor, and you know what? Get yourself one too. They usually have a sale, and Christmas is always good for sales. JagoandDeVore.com. Do your Christmas shopping there. So, gentlemen, and I know we're getting ready to close the show here real soon. So let's talk about one more thing. I know we talked about your social media accounts earlier. Let's go through that one more time. And I know also that there are some Outrunner T-shirts out there because they look beautiful because I like the logo, I like the look. So where can we get these things?
If you want to if the Christmas season is coming up in a few months, if you would like your family and friends to possibly love you more, get
If
them
you're
an
sitting
Outrunner.
around watching Home Alone, 1 or 2, I don't care.
Go ahead, log on to the internet, the World Wide Web, www.prowrestlingtees/the Outrunners, and
Just Outrunners.
peruse. Yes, sorry, prowrestlingtees.com/outrunners, and you can peruse our wondrous selection of cotton T-shirts.
We just got the brand new white hot Shades Outrunner t-shirt on there. So be sure to go to prowrestling.com/outrunners. Pick up the brand new shirt. We also have, for the time being, until we're able to get our separate store, our Dream Pro Wrestling t-shirt is on there as well. So if you want to support Dream Pro Wrestling and the Outrunners, or even both, prowrestlingtees.com/outrunners.
That's beautiful. And don't forget, like they mentioned earlier, and he's showing up right now, nice tank top and all that. So do some Christmas shopping. And I also invite you not just to buy the shirts, visit their website, give them their likes on their social medias, tell the world about the Outrunners because pretty soon they're going to be too hot to handle. You're not going to be able to get a hold of them. They're going to be too busy.
Too hot to handle, too cold to hold.
There you go. That's a beautiful thing. So, gentlemen, we, speaking for Lord DeVore, we appreciate being on the Diego and DeVore show. It's been a pleasure. I like to bring you guys back down the line because I want to really talk about what happens after your first show and see how that went and what more comes after that.
I would love to. I'd like to meet Lord DeVore, and I can talk tag team wrestling all day. So can't wait.
We can definitely do that. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here again. The future of tag team wrestling, Truth Magnum, Turbo Floyd, they are the Outrunners. They're one of the rising tag teams right now in the world, and catch them while you can. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for being on. We'll have you back later this year. And normally this is the time where I have Lord DeVore flex his beautiful golden pipes, but he's not here, so I'll cut it to the quick and take it home and say, you got your pythons out? I love it, brother. So you guys take care. Thank you for being on the show. To all the fans of Diego and DeVore show, please visit the site DiegoDeVoreshow.com. Please stay safe. I'll catch you on the next one.